Hello my fellow Hetalians and welcome back to another series of Hetalia myths. I know that you have been waiting on that name video for almost a year now, has it been? And I know it is taking forever to come out. But while you are waiting, there are a few things that I am just too impatient for to wait for the names video. So here are some human name myths while you are waiting for the master list video. In the official names video, I will address what the names are and their potential origins, and if Hema messed up on their name. In this video, I just want to address a few misconceptions that I want to make clear. With that, let us begin. Myth number 1. Denmark's name is Mathias Kohler. Denmark was not given one official canon name. However, like Norway and Belgium, he was given a list of potential names that Hemaruya was thinking about. And he was given a lot of first names. But he was given only one last name. And that was Denson. Nowhere on this list is Mathias or Kohler. There's Andersen, Christensen, Arnesen, Simon, Abel, Mikkel, Magnus, and Bertram. No Mathias. So then what do we call him? Well, Andersen, Arnesen, and Christensen seem more like surnames. Abel is one of the Netherlands' names, so in order to be unique, let's cross that off. So that leaves Simon, Mikkel, Magnus, and Bertram. I personally use Simon Denson as his full name because it seems like that's what Hema preferred since he put the two next to each other. Or Magnus sounds like a very Denmark-like name because just Magnus. It just sounds so Denmark. I don't know where Mathias Kohler came from. Norway and Iceland have names that were listed by Hema. Where did this come from? I'm not sure, but no. His name is not Mathias Kohler. It is one of these names and Denson. Myth number 2. Lithuania's name is Taris Laurinaitis. I have talked about this a couple of times already. His name is actually a translation error. And his last name is kind of pronounced differently. His name is actually Taris Laurinaitis. Since there is no L in the Japanese language, it got translated as an R since Hema spelled all the names in katakana. So his name was spelled Torisu Laurinaitis. We will see this again later. I understand back in the early days of Hetalia where the information wasn't very clear or accessible. I have made this mistake quite a bit in the past, as the Kitawiki refuses to change it and instead lists it as alternate names. I know that the Kitawiki says otherwise, but I don't think the Kitawiki has talked to Lithuanians. I have talked to 2, and both have told me that Tolis is actually a Lithuanian name and Taurus is not. Tolis is rather uncommon, but nations are incredibly old, so maybe it was rather popular back then. I don't think Taurus is a name anywhere. Maybe it is, but not in Lithuania or anywhere in Europe that I know of. It's actually more of something that you would name your dog. He's not a dog. Call him Tolis. Tolis could also be short for Tolviras, Tolmintas, or Tolvesias. I like Tolviras better because it just sounds so Lithuanian. Myth number 3. Finland's first name is supposed to be Timo, not Tino. This is because Tino is not a common name in Finland. Unlike Taurus, though, it is actually used as a name elsewhere in Europe. It is used a lot more in Sweden and Denmark than Finland, though. However, Timo with an M is actually a Finnish name. So let's take a look at the katakana. Hema wrote Tino. But there is a mo character in Japanese, you could easily write Timo in Japanese characters, as easy as Tino. So then I went to a Nordic name site. It turns out that Tino is under there, and there are Finns with that name. But some variants say that it is spelled with 2 I's. But this one apparently seemed less popular, so I went to a Finnish database that recorded the popularity of names in Finland, which conveniently existed. So I searched all 3 of these. Tino with 1 I is actually used in Finland. It's rather rare though, but not nearly as rare as the one with 2 I's. So it seems that Hema meant to write Tino here. Myth number 4. Ukraine's name is Katyusha Braginskaya. Many people believe this. I believed this for a long time too. I had to edit a fanfiction that I was currently working on as a result. But again, last names are only the same when they are in the same country. Like Denmark, Ukraine was given a few first names and a last name. Those names were Maria, Sofia, and Irina. As for the last name, it is Chernenko. Since Maria and Sofia are incredibly generic and are names all across the world, and because Irina sounds more unique, I personally use Irina Chernenko. Chernenko is a good last name since a lot of Ukrainian last names end in enko. Finally, something accurate about Ukraine. Myth number 5. Liechtenstein's name is Lili Zwingli. I think that I have talked about this before as well. Liechtenstein, kind of, has a canon name. Her name is Erika Vogel. Like Ukraine and Denmark, she was given a few first names and a last name. These names were Erika, Tutsia, Elise, and Eva, with Vogel as a last name. However, Eva and Elise were later removed, leaving only Erika and Tutsia, which is really confusing because that doesn't seem to be a name that exists anywhere. So that leaves Erika Vogel. Myth number 6. Hungary's name is Elizabeta Hedervary. This is a name that also has a Romanji dispute. Elizabeta, Elizabeth, and Erzsébet are all possible spellings. But from what my Hungarian followers have told me, the most accurate name is Erzsébet. So what is her real name? The katakana is Elizabeta Hedervary, which is hard to understand in the Latin alphabet because you can't spell any of these names perfectly in katakana. And we all know that the Japanese hate consonant clusters. And when translated into katakana, they both are the exact same thing. So I'm going to go off of history. Hungary's name is probably a reference to Sisi, or Queen Elizabeth of Bavaria, wife of Franz Joseph I, which in Hungarian translates to Erzsébet. They all have the same origin, and you can use Elizabeta and still be correct. But if you want to stay true to Hungarian roots, I suggest going with Erzsébet. Myth number 7. Spain's name is Antonio Hernandez Carriedo. Many are confused if his first surname is Fernandez or Hernandez. And no, it is not his middle name, it is his first last name. That's how Spanish names go. This confusion comes from when Maria first gave him a human name. When he first posted it, the katakana was Hernandez, thus resembling Hernandez. But since the H is supposed to be silent in Spanish, it should have been Hernandez instead. However, later on, Maria changed it to Fernandez, or as he wrote, Fernandez. so Hernandez is most reliable. Myth number 8. Basch or Vash Zwingli. There is a huge debate over Switzerland's first name in the fandom. So I am going to answer this once and for all. Is it Basch or Vash? I personally have never heard either be used in my life. So it is time for the katakana test. In katakana, his name is Bashu Tsuvinkuri. There isn't really a V in the Japanese language. However, in German, the V sounds more like an F. So it probably would have been something like Bashu Tsuvinkuri instead of Bashu. We see this in Liechtenstein's last name when it's written out in katakana. Many often use Vash, however, Basch also has more historical significance. It is also short for Sebastian. I would suggest using Basch. Myth number 9. Nyo Italy's name is Feliciana. Hungary gave a list of Nya Italy first names for the main 8 except for America and France for some reason, Canada, Prussia, and Switzerland. And the name for Itako was Alice, which is spelled like Alice. And yes, all the girls have unique names, and unlike the others, they have names that are printed in the Latin alphabet. Even though this is the same post that has quite a few other human names. So they all have unique names, and it's not just their male name plus an A at the end. It's a lot more creative. But wait, I hear you say. Igiko's name is Alice though, right? It's spelled the exact same way too. Why would Hima do something like that? He clearly knows how to spell in a Latin alphabet this time. Which brings me to my final myth. Myth number 10. Nyo England's name is Alice. That's right. Everything you learned was a lie. Her name is not Alice. It is actually Rosa, or Rose if you want the more English variant. This was in the same blog post where Denmark, Norway, Ukraine, Liechtenstein, and all those other people with multiple names were listed. However, a fan did bring this up later, to which he said that it was a cute suggestion. He then said that he was also thinking of naming her Lisa after his British friend. So which one is correct? Technically, you can choose whatever you want, but if you want to avoid confusion with Nya Italy, I suggest using Rosa or Rose. Actually, there are a lot of Nya Italian names that people actually get confused about. Doiko, Monica, not Louisa, Kanako, Marguerite or Meg for short, Romana, Chiara. So what have we learned today? We learned that Denmark has been lying to you this whole time. Katakana is a bitch. Finland could secretly be a Dane. Ukraine is a Soviet politician. Liechtenstein is Erika Bird. And that Hungary knows how to write names in the Latin alphabet, but chooses not to. And that was 1 mark higher on your history test. Thank you for watching Hetalia. Hello everyone, as you know, Russification Roulette Chapter 1 is out. The link is in the description. There is also a link in the description if you want to help with Chapter 2. I don't really need too much for this chapter except for a few scenes and executions. And I already have 1 out of the 2 crime scenes that I need for this chapter. And since I don't need to wait for sprites this time, hopefully this will come out faster. About the cons that I am going to this year. Since I have paid for the overpriced hotel, I am going to Anime Central in May. I may also go to OhioCon later this month since it's cheap compared to most cons. I was planning on going to Anime Midwest, but if I get an internship, that might change. I guess I'll have to see. But until then, keep on studying.